That last picture was of an orchid mantis, and orchid mantises are super cool. They are pink and they kind of look like an orchid, the flower, the orchid, and they will hang on to an orchid plant and pretend that they're a flower. So a bird who might want to come eat a praying mantis coming by will say, oh, that's just an orchid. I don't eat orchids, I eat praying mantises, and will fly by. And the fact that it looks like an orchid will attract maybe a grasshopper or a cricket or any kind of bug that might want to eat the nectar from the orchid. So it looks like an orchid. Here comes a little bug saying, oh, you look like an orchid, and then chomp. It's eating it. Amazing. So I'll show you that picture of the orchid mantis again right now. So praying mantises are one of those wonderful insects that you do want in your garden. And I'm trying to pick up our little real life praying mantis friend here. Praying mantises are wonderful for the garden because they eat pests. They eat insects that are going to be eating your plants. Now, when I say pests, I mean those bugs that are like those aphids from the ladybug garden or butterfly garden video. Those are going to be eating, sucking the fluids out of the milkweed. And so if you have a praying mantis, just like you have the ladybugs, they might come in and just feast on those aphids, which is great. Praying mantises are so important because you don't have to then use pesticides. If you remember, back in that same ladybug video, there's this whole idea of integrated pest management. It's a fancy term that basically means using critters like this guy to take care of your pests instead of spraying poisonous chemicals all over your plants in hopes that you're just going to kill that one kind of insect, when truthfully you end up killing a lot of other good insects as well. Okay, let's fast forward to springtime when the praying mantis egg case bursts open. Now, it doesn't really burst per se. Instead, the little baby praying mantises begin their journey crawling out of the egg sac or the egg case. Now, the egg case is really cool. It's very papery. It almost seems like styrofoam in a way. Styrofoam mixed with paper. And it's really light and it's really airy and it has all these little pockets or these little holes in it. So the little eggs will hatch and the baby praying mantises, called nymphs, will just wiggle their way out. It's kind of a weird thing to watch. They wiggle their way out and then they look like a praying mantis, but like the size of an ant, which is really cool. So they'll be just super, super small. And when they're really, really little like that, they're doing a kind of different kind of camouflage in that they are pretending to look like ants, which is this whole phenomenon called ant mimicry. And basically, a lot of insects don't eat ants. They kind of leave them alone. So it's a adaptation to have your babies look like ants, and then also whatever the little nymph is going to be eating just thinks, oh, that's an ant. I'm not worried about it until chomp, their head is cut off by this itty bitty praying mantis. Super crazy. Now, even though an egg case can contain nearly 400 eggs, not all of the babies will survive. Most of them will die. Some won't make it out of the egg sac, and some will just actually be eaten by other things. But the ones that do live grow faster than their exoskeletons. Now, an insect's exoskeleton is kind of like if we had our bones on the outside. So insects don't have bones. They have exoskeletons, which are these thick armor that goes up. It's like thick skin, basically, that goes all over their body and protects them. But it doesn't necessarily grow with praying mantises. So they have to kind of, it's really weird to watch. They have to like shed their skin, and they can shed it up to 10 times while the little nymph is growing into an adult, which is really cool. So let's take a look at our actual real life, it's not alive, it is dead, praying mantis here. Miss Natasha and I believe some aftercare fourth graders found this wonderful specimen and put it on the fence along the garden for me to find. Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, forgive me. It's okay, I forgive you. Thanks. So let's see if I can get it to focus. Let's take a look at our praying mantis. Now you can see those massive eyeballs right up here. How they go from the front, but they also extend all the way to that dot on the back. That's still its eyeball. Then it's got these, if we can see, the back arm is the perfect example. You can see the serrated front and the serrated back. You could see how if you were a bug getting caught in that, you would not be able to get out. And as you're being caught, these big old jaws that he's got in the front there are going to be eating you. Then of course we've got the little antenna up here. Big old legs, big old body. And we've got its wings back here. Super, super cool creature. One of my top 2 favorite insects. And this is actually a really beautiful specimen. It's still a little, I don't want to say squishy because that makes it sound gross, but it still moves. Not it moves, I can move it still, which means that it died not that long ago, which is really cool. So it hasn't degraded at all. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I encourage you to go out and start looking for the praying mantis egg cases now in this winterish time. The only thing I'll say is please don't touch them or pull them off of where they are. I found a couple on like tomato cages. I did pull that one off because I needed to stack the cage, but I kept it and I'm gonna put it in a safe spot. I think it also was old. It had a bunch of holes in it, like the babies had come out. The other places I found them are on the railings. There's one outside of room 3, and on the railing, if you can spot it, bonus points. And there's also was one, I'm not sure it's still there, but was one on there's a water pump right at the front of the butterfly garden. It's pipes, but it's covered in a dark green casing, and there was one there. So if you can spot those, bonus points. The other thing too is just to, look around. They're probably not going to be on trees, but they would be on pots. They'd be on plants. And this is the time to look. And then, come spring, it's the time to look for our actual full-size friends. Now, this guy's a good size, but I've seen them a lot bigger. So maybe this one just didn't live very long. But if you see some, also be very gentle, but you can pick them up gently and just take a good look. Look at those massive eyes. Look at those cool wings. They won't hurt you. They won't bite you. You actually do feel their little arms try and grab you. And it's kind of funny because it tickles more than it doesn't hurt at all. It just tickles and you kind of go, you're so vicious in the insect kingdom, but not with my finger. So enjoy, go look out around you, go find some. If you find some, please come tell me. I'd love to know, especially if you find some at school. All right, enjoy. Quick side note before I actually let you go, after filming this video, I learned that a praying mantis egg sac is called an ootheca. O-O-T-H-E-C-A. Ootheca. Coolest name. We love it.